Patriotism can separate us from the rest of humanity. Patriotism is a concept that has been around for centuries. It is the idea of having pride in one's country and being loyal to it. However, instilling patriotism in young children can be problematic. It is a form of manipulation that can lead to negative consequences for society. Patriotism is a feeling of attachment and commitment to one's country, nation, or political community. It has its origins dating back to around 2,000 years before the rise of nationalism in the 19th century. While patriotism and nationalism are often used interchangeably, they have distinct meanings. Patriotism is more about love for one's country, while nationalism refers to loyalty to one's nation. Throughout history, people in power, such as kings and governments, have used patriotism to manipulate people and justify wars for their own gain. They have employed propaganda techniques to promote patriotism and nationalism among the population. By appealing to people's sense of loyalty and love for their country, leaders have sought to rally support for their political agendas and military campaigns. This has often involved creating symbols and slogans of nationhood that evoke strong emotions and foster a sense of unity among the citizens. When patriotism is instilled in young children, it can create a sense of superiority over other countries. This can lead to division and violence between nations. It also creates a sense of us versus them mentality, which can be detrimental to global society. Patriotism can also lead to a lack of empathy towards other cultures and people, which can further divide us. In-group loyalty is a natural impulse, so why do we try so hard to instill it from a young age? In-group loyalty is a natural impulse, but it should not be used as a tool for manipulation. Instead, we should focus on teaching children about the importance of empathy, respect, and understanding towards other cultures and people. This will help create a more united global society that values diversity and inclusivity. Some people may believe in patriotism because they have been taught from a young age that it is important to love and support their country. Others may associate patriotism with historical events or national symbols that hold personal significance to them. Additionally, patriotism can be influenced by societal norms, cultural values, and political ideologies. Patriotism and blind obedience towards the government can indeed have profound implications for violence and war. When people are conditioned to be blindly obedient to authority figures, they may be more likely to support aggressive actions and military conflicts initiated by their government. This can lead to devastating consequences, as seen in World War II and other historical conflicts. World War II was a global conflict that resulted in immense human suffering and loss of life. It was fueled by a combination of factors, including nationalism, territorial disputes, economic rivalries, and political ideologies. However, blind obedience to authority figures played a significant role in enabling the rise of totalitarian regimes and the subsequent aggression that led to the war. In Nazi Germany, for example, Adolf Hitler manipulated patriotic sentiments and exploited people's loyalty to the nation to consolidate his power. The regime employed propaganda techniques to foster a sense of nationalistic pride and promote obedience to the state. This blind obedience allowed Hitler to implement policies that violated human rights on an unprecedented scale, including the Holocaust and other atrocities such as Auschwitz. Similarly, other wars throughout history have been influenced by blind obedience and unquestioning loyalty to authority figures. The Vietnam War is another tragic example where patriotic fervor and a sense of duty led many young Americans to enlist in the military without questioning the government's justifications. The consequences were devastating, with millions of lives lost and long-lasting social and political divisions. It is important to recognize that patriotism itself is not inherently negative. Love for one's country can inspire acts of selflessness, unity, and positive contributions to society. However, when patriotism is exploited by those in power to manipulate public opinion and justify aggressive actions, it can have dire consequences. Promoting critical thinking, questioning authority, and fostering a culture of open dialogue are essential in preventing blind obedience and reducing the likelihood of violence and war. By encouraging citizens to engage critically with their governments and hold them accountable, societies can strive for peace, justice, and equality. It is crucial to have open discussions about the potential negative consequences of extreme patriotism and to promote critical thinking and empathy. By encouraging dialogue and understanding, we can work towards a more inclusive and united society that values diversity and cooperation. Ultimately, the belief in patriotism is complex and multifaceted. While it can have positive aspects, it is essential to critically examine its impact on society and strive for a balanced perspective that respects the rights and well-being of all individuals on our planet. I've always found national pride puzzling. To me, pride should stem from personal achievements, not something you inherit by chance. Your ethnicity is just a genetic roll of the dice. It's not a skill. You wouldn't say, "I'm proud to be blonde," or "I am proud to be tall." So why would you take pride in being American, Polish, Greek, or British? Quote, "When you call yourself an Indian or a Muslim or a Christian or a European or anything else, you are being violent. Do you see why it is violent? Because you are separating yourself from the rest of mankind. When you separate yourself by belief, by nationality, by tradition, it breeds violence. So a man who is seeking to understand violence does not belong to any country, to any religion, to any political party or partial system. He is concerned with the total understanding of mankind." By 𝗤𝗁. In conclusion, instilling patriotism in young children could be more harmful to general society than it seems. It creates division and violence between nations and breeds, feelings of superiority that are bad for humanity. Instead, we should focus on teaching children about empathy, respect, and understanding towards other cultures and people. By Леня Kravitz.